Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are returning to Ultimate General American Revolution, the newest game in the Ultimate General series, a game which has just recently gone to early access, but it's a closed early access, so you can only get it through GameLab's website at the moment. It'll be coming to Steam middle of next year, is my understanding, as the game gets closer. We are playing the only campaign available in the early access version right now. That's the 1775 American campaign. And this is episode number 2 in the series where we are trying to pretend that we have learned some lessons about the early game from my brief 4-episode series where I was really just taking a first look at things and not really knowing what I was doing. So in our first episode, we started off with just Hartford under our direct control, that in Leicester, but we had no troops there, the capital of Connecticut. And Hartford, that is. And we successfully fought a series of siege battles, kind of open field battles as well. We didn't, other than the tutorial, which is the Battle of Concord, we didn't fight any actual tactical battles in the campaign, but we did win a couple of sort of strategic map victories at Newport and Providence, badly mauling a couple of redcoat regiments, outnumbering them 5-1 or more in some cases. But we overran these two towns, Providence being an important one because it is the capital of Rhode Island. So we have control over both Rhode Island and Connecticut's provincial capitals, which is actually fairly important when it comes to production and things like that within a colony. We also advanced to take Middleborough, which is part of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, although Boston is the actual capital there, and that is the main base of British sort of strength right now. That is historically accurate, but we did manage to take Middleborough, so we've sort of got a chain of cities here on the southern edge of the map. You can see all linked by these sort of road supply lines. Newport's also a port. That being said, we did lose some ground as well. We lost Leicester and we lost Portsmouth, neither of which we put a defense up at, but it is worth noting that both of those provinces have been lost. So what are we going to do in this episode? We know that our troops cannot stand in even odds fight for the most part against the British. We have raised some new units. We've expanded our Fusiliers units to 720 men. These are the sort of regular infantry type units, the closest thing we have to being able to go toe-to-toe with the British. We've raised a few new sort of militia units as well. What is this unit? The Militia Regiment. That's the name of it. Come on. I can edit that, right? Yeah, I can. I don't know what we'll call it, but we'll probably edit that at some point. Was raised, and we added artillery there. So we have one battery of artillery with this militia regiment. So we actually do have some guns in the army. We also have a small garrison at Hartford because with the fall of Leicester, I don't want the enemy sort of flanking us and going back here without a fight. But the bulk of our forces, basically 3,900 troops, are at Providence and Middleborough. Our one commander, yours truly, Matthew Butcher, is at Middleborough, and the Redcoats have not seemed anxious to drive and try and fight us in an open field yet, but they could, and they likely would win in that scenario. That being said, it would be bloody, and if we brought these reserves in, we could at least make it close-ish. And in fact, if we brought the troops in from Hartford, it would be about 4,300 troops versus almost 4,600. So not great odds for an attacking force, but also why I'm not ready to assault Boston. We do know the British have, I think, at least around 7,000 total troops between what they have at Salem, Portsmouth, Leicester, and Fort Stevens. We know we've seen at least that many troops. They might have more. But I think what we're going to do today is we're going to start off with some reconnaissance. I'm going to take my general out of Middleborough, send him out to Leicester, see what the enemy has there. If we could maybe take Leicester back. I know it's not like on a direct supply line, but it would be nice if we could start isolating Boston, and I can't attack Boston directly. So attacking it on the flank, attacking Leicester, if we could retake that objective might be worthwhile. And it would be interesting because if we did do that, what we could potentially do is shift the entire Providence garrison and the entire Hartford garrison into that location. And then maybe move some of the Middleborough garrison back to Providence so that we could essentially have a force that's sort of in the middle here at Providence that could respond to either Leicester or Middleborough as the situation developed. But At least it would let us shorten our front, if you will, right? Instead of garrisoning both Providence and Hartford, taking Leicester should allow me to just garrison Leicester and Middleborough, or Leicester, Providence, and Middleborough. But I think Leicester and Middleborough could probably garrison and then like sort of shorten our front line. Before we do that, though, we are working on some other important stuff. So if we go to the headquarters screen here, you can see we have unlocked the quartermaster chief. That's important to increasing the unit cap from 5 to 19, which we did do. We are currently researching wagons, which will help us in terms of supplying units in the field, or being able to supply units like in battles where you can bring up additional ammo in the middle of a battle. Supply wagons let you do that. So we are researching that with our quartermaster in chief, Samson Byrne. We are also researching the engineering department as our primary research for our sort of commander-in-chief headquarter. It's going to take about 6 more days, but that is going to be important to unlocking sort of control over the artillery, or no, not the artillery, for the production management and construction management screens, which will allow us to perhaps start building stuff. We can buy stuff. We can go into the market here and we can actually buy weapons like, well, we've already bought all the brown besses there are, but we could buy some Spanish 55s, Charleville 77s, you know, or more civilian muskets as needed, but we can't build anything yet. We could also buy more 3-pound Galloper guns, if we need to, if we wanted to raise another company of artillery, which I do, but I don't have anywhere to raise that artillery yet. So, rather than just spending a lot of money, it is more efficient to build stuff. And so, we could do that if we were to unlock the engineering department, which is our next task. Meanwhile, there's a colonial management screen, which we really have not looked at all in this game here. You can see most of the colonies. The map isn't even expanded to most of these colonies yet. So I have no control over New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, etc. I also don't have control over Massachusetts Bay because the colony is under British control. The capital at Boston is under British control. And the same is true of New Hampshire, I believe. But with that being said, we can do things with Rhode Island and Connecticut. The vast majority of both are loyalist provinces, so we have a doctrine option we can assign to each state and a manual option. So development, we could say like either manually develop it. I'm assuming this is in terms of like what we're building, or we can have sort of an army development, a production development, or a supply development option, which I think will automatically build stuff in the towns, cities. Also, there's no doctrine here, so we can add doctrines which give different boosts. So, for example, we can add a construction doctrine, which will boost this colony with faster construction times. We can do a mining development, which will boost the number of resources the colony produces. Production, which will boost the amount of factories and shipyards that they produce. Propaganda, which will boost the loyalty of the economy. Provisions, which will boost the provision sort of farming of the economy. Recruiting for soldiers, training for quality of the troops in the colony. That's tempting. The retraining one is tempting. Recruiting isn't so much an issue because I don't have any officers at the moment to raise new units. So one of those things, like if you go in here and you want to go click out, create a new unit and create a militia regiment, I can't do that because there are no officers to assign. And without a commander of a unit, you cannot create a unit. So we're kind of limited with the number of regiments that we have right now based on the number of general officers that we have. Also, I think I might be misunderstanding what the wagons do here. New product, wagon. No, it does produce wagons as a product. Wagons are a necessary component for the creation of supply units. You need to complete this project for the beginning of production of wagons in your factories. So that has to do with factory production. I can actually go in and create a supply party, which is an auxiliary for resupplying the army in areas where military operations occur. Requires a commanding officer, up to 6 companies, and wagons. So I, again, have no officers to assign to a supply party. So, lame. Anyway, so I think if we go back here, we can see Newport is part of Rhode Island. The construction capacity is pretty limited, and the dock and the town hall are both damaged. That's why I've got this sort of green circular bar here. It represents sort of the construction completion of these two items. The fact that there's no star here indicates that the building is either not finished or not active. If you compare that with Hartford, you can see the town hall has a little star here, which means it's producing. I think anyway, that's my understanding. All these other buildings here have stars, but these two do not. And I believe, again, that's because they're repairing. They only have 0.6 construction points to repair in that town. That seems very low. So for Rhode Island, let's go ahead and do a construction doctrine. It'll cost a little bit of gold, but it'll increase the construction points for the province. And hopefully will speed up Newport getting its buildings completed, which will... I'm assuming it'll speed up the buildings getting completed. I don't know that for a fact. But that's the hope anyway. You can see the total construction points in the province at this point. For Connecticut, I think we're going to go with training. I like the idea of getting better troops. So let's go ahead and go with training for the Connecticut sort of province. I'm not actually doing anything in terms of building new buildings at the moment or producing weapons at the moment. So training seems like a sound option to go with. But I don't really understand the colonial management screen all that well. Basically only as well as the game tells you. So that's something to factor in. Also, I think we did have to spend a little bit of reputation to do that, but I think we're at 58 before, and now we're at 54, but that's fine. That being said, I don't have anything else to do. It's May 1st, so let's go ahead and get our general out into the field and use him as a scout. It'd be cool if there was, maybe there will be a scout unit later, or cavalry can be used for that purpose. Also, Newport being a port, I believe it generates additional income via trade, I think. But let's get our one mobile unit here, the general officer unit, his headquarters unit with 50 mounted staffers, if you will. We're going to go check out Leicester because they're the only troops of ours that can move very quickly as scouts. And hey, you know, Washington wasn't, and you can see 27 Royal Navy warships closing in on a supply convoy there. They've got 2,500 troops at Boston, 2,100 at Leicester. Jeez Louise. So they've got 6,800 troops between these two towns. I could overwhelm Leicester theoretically, but that would probably invite an enemy attack on Middleborough, which isn't really what I want. Where are these guys going? Are they trying to chase my general? Because if they are, let's get the hell out of there, boys. Hey, General, move. Here's an idea. If we leave him here, can we bring in some troops to go fight them? Well, I don't know where they're going, actually. 500 troops are going northwest. 700 maybe to Fort Stevens. It'll probably take a while for these 1,500 troops to get there. And I don't love the idea of inviting an enemy attack. On Middleborough. But it would be intriguing if I could defeat a portion of the enemy army in detail. Of course, by pulling 1,400 troops out of Middleborough, that may invite an enemy attack as well. And by pulling the 450 troops out of Hartford, it may also invite an enemy attack down there since there's no garrison. If they even know that, I don't know. You know, the AI seems to attack garrisons or towns that are empty of soldiers. But I don't know if it's because it knows they're empty or if like some unit gets close enough and then they see it's empty and that, like, I don't know how they knew Portsmouth was empty. It is fairly close to Salem, so maybe they just were, a unit was moving and saw it was empty, but I digress. All right, so these 500 troops are out of the town. That'll make it 2,700 troops, which is definitely more than I can attack. right, we'll form an army up there. How are they doing? They're not moving, so I think their condition is getting better. Slightly. Gonna pull my artillery regiment out. And then see if I can... I'm worried we're leaving Middleborough too open, which will invite an enemy attack. So I'm going to try and put 100 more troops with Evans' company over here, or regiment over here, to get them back over 1,000. I don't know what the trigger is for the enemy to be like, we should assault this position. But I would like my artillery with my mobile field force, so... The enemy is pulling some troops out of Leicester at the moment. I'm worried they're going to be going for Hartford, actually. Britain and France are at war. I don't know how the diplomacy works, really, in this game. But if the enemy's going to move that way... So we should take advantage of that. All right, I don't want... It looks like they're chasing my 500 troops over here. I didn't really want that to occur. But if there's a way to engage a fraction of this force without the whole... They want to chase these troops away. This might be an opportunity for a fairly favorable tactical battle. 400 troops from Leicester. They've got artillery in 3 of their companies here, so they've got 1,100. They've got 2,000 troops. Versus pretty much 2,000 troops. These 546, they're not quite there yet. Okay. 1,400, 1,800, 2,300, 900, 1,000, 16, 2,100. Okay. Let's see how this fight goes. Maybe if we're a little bit more defensive and let them come to us. We do have 1,400 regulars. Let's pause here so we can see there's some British troops right here on the map. I don't know how reinforcements work in this. Like, are they already on the map? No, ours are not, at least. The weather being rainy is not great for a firefight. All right, so this is Richardson's brigade. 3 regiments here. Let's try and form them up on the right flank of our line. Maybe we can get the enemy into like an L, and then this is a much larger brigade here in like triple line. Double line I think makes sense. Triple line less so. Again, I don't think I can push into this wood line if the enemy's already here. I don't see great defensive ground anywhere to fall back on. So let's do this. Let's move some of these troops into, let's extend this line so maybe we can overlap their position. Whoa, what are you doing? Maybe we can double envelop them. I doubt it, but let's just see what we can do here. Get our general closer to the front. Help the morale of the troops. We do get some cover just by holding. It puts troops into sort of a kneel, the front rank kneels, which reduces at least some of the unit's exposure to... You know, it'd be really nice is if you could actually like have formalized lines of battle. And what I mean by that is formations. Like, that would be greatly preferable if I could have, hey, form a single line, form a double line, you know, like most war games do. Strategy games like Total War, which I would not really call a traditional war game, typically don't do that, but war games do, and so that's kind of often the delineating point between, like, what kind of mechanics does the game have? Is it really a war game? Is it a strategy game? Where does its focus lie? Anyway, the cover of a lot of these troops, not so great. The morale, pretty good. Conditioning also pretty good. And we have some artillery. I don't yet, right? My guns aren't here. Okay. It does look like we outnumber the enemy, at least by the initial troops on the field. Now remember, they do have, I think, about half their force is on the way as reinforcement. But the AI is looks like it's coming after me, so I'm not going to be able to envelop them there. Those troops are just going to get caught and expose their own flank. So why don't you fall back? Because you're getting shot to pieces, and you're in. Where are you retreating to, boys? Get out of there. So the lead company there got shot up a bit, took 19 casualties. Also, the score down here for deaths and casualties doesn't seem to reflect just this battle. It's a cumulative thing of what they've done, you know, their entire history as a unit, which I don't love. All right, enemy reinforcements are going to start coming up, so let's... Maybe we can engage some of these guys more favorably before some of their reserves come up. As you can see, this, if I can break a couple of companies early, then that might negate the value of their reinforcements. The browncoats, that sounds, the browncoats are sort of our regular troops. The blue are our militia, I believe. Our first lieutenant is wounded. So we got 400 muskets engaging 115 here. And we're just going to blaze away here at the enemy. Be cool. I don't know if there's a screen. Does anybody know? And I can take a look. But I'm curious if there's like a screenshot mode that will sort of hide the user interface and just let you take pretty screenshots, because that would be pretty sweet. Looks like more of the reinforcements have arrived. That red bar keeps going in the wrong direction, but we did at least temporarily drive back one of their companies. I don't want to really engage these guys, move forward further and engage them while they're in the woods. Este Counterattack. Sorry, that's my Waterloo Napoleon's last battle in me. I know I just said I don't want to engage him in the wood line, but we can flank him. Well, this company's getting shot to pieces. So I'm moving my reserve companies, at least some of them, over to the left. These guys have some nice cover here. 53 in this wood line here. They're also our fusiliers, so they're regular troops. Surprised these boys are holding so well. All right, so we've got 3 companies on their flank here in the wood line. Are these guys getting shot at and not actually shooting back? That's what it would seem like. All right, boys, engage. We just drove back another enemy company up here near the front, sort of left. So it seems to say that the British have nearly equal numbers. I don't know if a large percentage of their forces are not engaged yet, but we've driven back multiple enemy companies to this point. Countercharge, boys. Our conditioning, because we've been holding in place, is largely in pretty good shape. We'll try and overwhelm this enemy regiment from 3 sides, and at least one of our units that is fighting here are regulars. So they should perform better, and they do, and they rout the enemy here. Really ripping them apart, inflicting very disproportionate casualties on this British foot unit. That one is probably out of the fight as an effective force. Maybe will totally rout. All right. Again, by holding in position, we maintained our conditioning, so we did not expose ourselves to undue fatigue. So far, so good. So good. There are additional enemy regiments or companies coming up here, but we captured these guys. Nice. So pull them back. It's the first time I've captured anyone outside of the actual tutorial battle. Whoa, reserves have arrived. All right, I don't really want tired troops fresh off the march to just jump into battle here. I drove that company back. Everything we can do here, boys. There are more reserves coming up here for them. Some of these troops of mine need a rest before they jump into the fight. I think my guns might be blocked. All right, you guys halt here. You guys are exhausted. Just hold in position there on the flank. We should wreck this enemy company as well. All right, the enemy's charging me again, huh? All right, so we wrecked that enemy company. Hopefully we'll get another one here on the right flank. Center is not as pretty. They got a lot of reserves coming up here. All right, boys. Pivot in on the right. Another enemy company is shattered. They're trying to melee me. I don't love that my troops are increasingly tired. My artillery firing now? Looks like they are. They've taken a couple of casualties. Oh, maybe they haven't. I don't know. The casualty... Keeping track of casualties is so goddamn hard in this because of the way that the game treats casualties. Like, oh, we're gonna count historical casualties rather than just this battle. But now we can overlap the enemy right. They've kind of got a blob of troops coming in here, but that's not the most effective way. Like, they're going to have trouble, I think, getting them all into action. Meanwhile, I would think, in theory, if this is actually based on positioning of units, I would think that my boys are going to be able to do good work with that artillery with just this glob of troops on troops. But I don't know if the targeting really is... It might be unit specific, if that makes sense, rather than geography. A lot of games handle it that way. Right, those 140 boys chasing the enemy that they drove back. Trying to finish the enemy unit off altogether. They are very tired, though. Kind of overlapped the enemy flank. The center is not in great position, but at least some of these new troops that have come up are getting a chance to rest after their long march to the battlefield. Oh god, that's canister. They've only got one gun though, I think. I think this unit's melee is gonna fail because they're so tired, but there's no real easy ability to pull back there, so... Meanwhile, let's keep trying to flank these guys here. Alright, we drove back an enemy company on the left flank here. These guys are almost completely destroyed. Any company that we can destroy is a huge win, because even when they take casualties here, a large number of these enemy troops, they're just gonna pull reserves from their recruitment pool, and they will come back to fight another day. But if you actually destroy an enemy company, it is, I think for the British, it is effectively gone for good. Alright, who's routing? Nice, we shattered the artillery battery. I don't know how recruiting replacement companies work for the British. I don't know if they, like, get to, you know, they get to, what do you call it? Do they have to wait for actual reinforcements to come from England the way that new units come, or can companies just be replaced in the same way that we can raise a new company, if you will? I don't know the answer to that. All right, we're going to charge into their right flank here. Some of these companies are much too large for me to look good about. Also, a lot of the troops on the right are tired, but it may expose some of these other enemy units' flanks to our fire. Yeah, this... All right, so we successfully drove those two companies back. Also, we destroyed that enemy artillery company and also drove back another infantry company there. We just surrendered. These are redcoats? Some redcoats surrendered. If we can get them out of there before they're recaptured. Oh, I didn't want you to charge. I just want you to shoot. Your conditioning is good. This is turning into a melee fight because I think I've got a considerable advantage now. It would appear so based on the top of the strength chart at the top of the... The goal has to be to take as many prisoners and defeat as many redcoats as possible at this point, to cripple this force so that they're never able to sort of recover. Use your manpower advantage now. Try to minimize your own your losses by all right, so we've taken 70 prisoners, which is not a lot, but other enemy company shattered. All right, it does say it's a victory, so the enemy is retreating, but I want to inflict as many losses on them as possible. So I'm not going to withdraw. I'm not going to end this fight until they've fully retreated off the map. Maybe we can capture another company or two. At least kill a few more. Granted, we may take some casualties as well, but it seems like it's pretty much off to the races at this point. They don't seem to be shooting back very much. I probably won't catch many of these boys. Can we get more of their guns? Can we destroy more of their artillery? That would be a great... Nice. We just shattered one more of their artillery batteries. How did my artillery do anyway? 16 casualties inflicted, not that many, but they were kind of in a bad position. So hopefully this means that Leicester will fall pretty easily. I would think the enemy will withdraw back to Boston with this defeat. Shoot at them. There you go. Hey, maybe we'll get this regiment captured. I'm hoping we get to capture their guns too. That would be great if we could add that artillery to our arsenal, since artillery is fairly expensive. Maybe we can capture this enemy. I'm sure everybody at this point is exhausted, so that fatigue shouldn't matter too much. Nice. We got another 49 prisoners. And my understanding is the way POWs work in the game right now is that they're basically just assigned to the closest city that you control, and they effectively become slave labor. Like they become an addition to your labor pool at that town. Okay. They're going to retreat off the map. Shoot them. They kind of got out of range before they could engage them. Why do I only have one unit pursuing here? If the enemy turned around, they'd outnumber these boys pretty considerably. Nice little volley there. 8 casualties inflicted. Just get them to run off the edge of the map, and then it'll be victory. We'll take the victory. I don't know if they've reloaded by now. They have not. This is the reload bar down here. All right, so they're off. All right, so back to the global map. You can see the battle outcome. 2,400 American soldiers were deployed to this battle. 1,900 British, so we did outnumber them by about 5 men. We had 5 guns to their 3. We took 586 casualties, so about a little bit more than 1/5 of our force, or 20% of our force. That is a considerable number of casualties, but the British lost 1,401 men killed, wounded, or whatever, and then 121 missing, which I'm assuming are mostly those POWs that we took. So that means they lost 1,520 of their 1,900 men. Nearly an annihilation battle. If we go to the actual units, we can see that we destroyed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 enemy companies were destroyed. Meanwhile, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 enemy companies escaped in some form or another. So about a third of their force is permanently destroyed, and then the rest will take a good long while, I think, getting back up to strength. But that's the most decisive battle I've won in the campaign map ever in my history here playing this game, which is admittedly not very lengthy, but still a pretty considerable victory, I would say, for us on the campaign map. So let's get our army here into Leicester. You can see this entire enemy force is withdrawing, except 600 of their boys were not part of the defeat, it looks like. Kearney's regiment appears to be in good order. Also, there's a bunch of loot and equipment. Is Kearney retreating, or they're fighting us? Jeez. Hey guys, there's a battle going on. Don't... Alright, so they are trying to retreat. I don't love that we're pursuing into those other enemy units. But it does say we're routing them. So we're inflicting more casualties on the enemy force, especially the troops who are not part of the original defeat. What's going on here? We're low on ammo, or like what's the story here? Why is this battle even-ish? Is it because we're low on ammo? Also, I don't like the way that units move on the campaign map in this. It's a little bit haphazard in that, like, my officer, if he gets too close to the enemy, immediately, like, sprints out of the way. It's a little bit difficult to manage that. Hey, guys, don't pursue the enemy. Let's get some troops into the garrison at Leicester. So, like, he's in the command radius, I'm assuming here, so I assume this is doing good things. I'd like to try and destroy either of these regiments. But I'm not going to pursue you all the way to Boston. These guys are completely out of ammo, so if they're fighting the British here, they're fighting a battle of pikes. The British don't seem to be shooting back much either, though. All right, we're gonna bring Noel down here. He's got ammo. He can better fight. I don't want to take too many casualties amongst my elite troops. They're gonna get exhausted trying to pursue, but Because what I don't want is this enemy regiment in our rear moving in and taking Hartford. I would have just let them retreat if they had retreated to the east. But the fact that they're retreating toward an undefended capital, in my opinion, means I have to pursue. At least until they switch directions. Guys, where are you not? Move. Let's go. I really don't like that I'm getting pulled so far away from Leicester. But these guys gotta move. I can't let them get to Hartford. And I can't raise a new militia unit there either because I don't have a commander. I don't understand why sometimes troops move quickly and sometimes they don't. Like, their condition is not such that they should be moving this slow. Oh, God. What's going on over here? Who? Why? Huh? There's cavalry fighting near Middleborough? Oh, the enemy's assaulting Middleborough. That's bad. Okay, well, they're going to take Middleborough back. While I was busy doing other things, they're sallying forth out of Boston. Well, we won a nice little victory. I don't know if it's better to order these guys to leave Middleborough and retreat and pull back to Providence. Probably going to get obliterated there in defense of Middleborough. What is going on here? Who are these troops under? I just want you to retreat, guys. Go back to Providence. Join the garrison there. Also, Hartford is unoccupied. Why are the British moving more quickly than you are toward... Oh my God. I can't lose Hartford. It is important that we not lose Hartford. Just retreat, guys. Don't all die. Also, I need to... We've done the engineering department thing, so we need to do a new project. Probably Continental Army. It is 73 days. Alternatively, we could get another officer so we can raise another regiment, which would be nice. That's 14 days. Oh, only 12. Actually, let's spend 12 prestige and get it now. Maybe I can raise a company of recruits. I really have no idea what's going on over here. Too much fog of war. We can see we're losing men, but I don't know how many troops they sent out of Boston there. Are they even going to fight? Like, my general officer here apparently is fighting these 160 enemy troops. He's driving them back. They're withdrawing from Hartford. My character single-handedly saved the day. That's funny. All right, just go up to Leicester. All right, so additional enemy reinforcements are coming, I guess. Can I raise a new unit at Hartford now? Yes, we've got Neiman Stevens. I don't know who you are, but good for you. All right, so we're going to raise 450 militia and 1 company of artillery at Hartford. That should be good enough. Let's get our general out of there. See if we can see what's going on. All right, you boys, go join the Providence garrison. It looks like our withdrawal from Middleborough was sort of a success. There's 600 enemy troops approaching Newport. Why are you running? The pathfinding here makes no sense. Go through the forest. Why? These guys are exhausted. They have no ammo. I don't understand what's going on here. I don't know if it's a bug of some sort. So these guys got pretty badly shot up. I have just the one officer, so I can't raise another unit. I do have another project to assign at the HQ. 53 more prestige I could spend, but we're just going to do the Continental Army here. And then a chief engineer. We have no one to assign to this headquarters. I have no officer who can be our chief engineer because I have no more officers. Leicester was captured. Engineering department done. Middleborough lost. Enemy has 1,900 troops at Middleborough, but they also have like at least 3 more regiments, so maybe another 1,000 that aren't there. Then they got the 600-man company under Donovan approaching Newport, which we don't want to lose. But yeah. All right. Let's go assault Donovan down here, see if we can drive him off with 800 men. They're all militia, though, which is not great. Second Continental Congress. What do we need? More rifles or muskets? More money? More ammo? I'd say at this point, more ammo. I can buy muskets. Of course, now that I'm pulling out of Providence with the bulk of my troops, the enemy's marching down on me toward Providence itself. So we can fight a battle here. We'll outnumber the enemy a reasonable amount, but they have artillery and regulars versus militia. My regulars are on the way east, but they're still a good deals away. I think I spread myself out too much. I don't know why Murray's just sitting here versus the enemy. Like, what do you do? Are you even in the ocean? Like, what's going on here? Anyway, we'll have to see. I'm not going to fight another battle in today's video, but I do think we'll fight that battle at Newport to try and save it. And if we win that, then the enemy should retreat. So then what we'll do is we'll just pull these troops back north to Providence right away. Hopefully that'll be enough to dissuade the enemy to attack us, because we cannot hold out against... What is this all? What is this? If this was 150, 600, 600, so that... Oh my God. So that's basically 1,400 right here to 2,500 troops. We don't have anywhere near that many to defend with. We are raising a new regiment at Hartford, which will be nice, but I'm too spread out now, and that's a mistake, perhaps. But we want a big victory today, so let's enjoy the success now that we've had it, and we'll take a moment, we'll regroup, and we'll figure out how to address this problem here in the next episode. Until the next episode, however, this is the Historical Gamer once again saying thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying Ultimate General American Revolution. Leave your thoughts down below in the comments, and until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying, I'm out.